Hey friends, today we're talking tuning. What is tuning? Well, tuning is adjusting the pitch of each string higher or lower so that when we play them together, we get a pleasing sound that is in tune. So we're going to start from the really basic, go a little bit more complex, and then maybe spend a little bit of time just talking theory and talking about some more advanced concepts with tuning. So from the very beginning, the first thing we learn how to do is model. Model tuning. What I did for you at the beginning, that was a model. G, C, E, A. Find something that you trust is in tune. Maybe it's your ukulele friend. Maybe it's this video itself at the very beginning. You could tune up to those notes anytime and trust that they're in tune because I've made sure they were. You could tune against a piano or a guitar or any other instrument that you know can give you a clean G, C, E, A. Let's take a listen to what that would sound like. So, all right, you ready? Here's G. I'm going to play it a few times. Let them get in tune. Okay. How about C? Yep. Adjusting up or down till it really sounds good together. How about E? And then, yeah. So, tuning to a model is really a basic way that we can do this. If you got somebody else you can tune against, you've got a YouTube video you can tune against, perfect. Just trust your ear. As you get closer and closer to that pitch, either go higher or lower till it sounds like it's the same note. We don't hear any beats where it kind of clashes and clangs together. It doesn't sound like it's two different notes. Instead of sounding, we don't hear. Oh, then we're getting tuned, right? We don't hear those things. Tuning against a model is a great way to go. Now, sometimes you don't have a model. So this is when we learn how to tune to ourselves. Tune to ourselves. Now, let's say I walked in and my ukulele's been in the trunk because we listened to Casper Baby Pants and we realized we should always keep a ukulele in the trunk. And my tuning's all wonky. Well, I don't have access to a model. But I'm not playing with anybody else, so why don't I just tune to myself instead? What I mean by that is instead of having to be G, C, E, A, we just, whatever this note is, we tune to that. It might be a E flat. As long as you're not playing with somebody else, it's not that critical, unless you really know which range fits your voice well or something. But if we just want to get close, we should learn how to tune to ourselves. So I'm going to start with the G string on the 5th fret. The next string open, the C string, should be an octave apart. Same note, but high, low. It's really close. Got rid of those beats. So G string to open C string. There we go. Now, the next set. Go C string, fret 4, to the open E string. Those are two different notes. Low, high. Second one's too high, right? Need to bring it down till they match. We get rid of those little beats. It's pretty dang close. Now, next set, go the 5th fret of the E string to the open A string. Oh. That happened to be really close. If you're not sure, go down and then scoop up till they sound right. Good, now let's see, here's our test. Play a chord. Close. It's that E string. So if the E string was off, that means then the A string's gonna be off too. That's close enough for a campfire jam if you ask me. I'm in tune with myself. Great, awesome. Oh, but wait a minute now. I'm in tune with myself, that's a great thing to know. But what if my friend comes along again and wants to play? We've got to tune again to each other. Which is why we just go ahead and agree, if you're going to be around other people, why don't you grab a tuner? Why don't we grab a tuner? So here's our third way of tuning, to a tuner. Now, this is the one I like the most. My battery's a little low, but it's called the Snark Super Tight. It's telling me I'm way off. So, you notice F sharp, but it's a little sharp, so I'm going to tune it up higher till I get to G, and higher till it's right in the middle of the G. Now it's got to say G, it's got to be right in the middle. I'm in tune. We're good to go. I'm going to continue on with that. I'm going to even show you on a different app over here. I'm looking at the iPad. Hopefully it's going to show up over here in a moment. So this is an app that's called Tonal Energy, and it's great for tuning all kinds of things. It's really sensitive though, so watch as I play a C. Even you can see it, my voice talking, it's going off. So that's saying it's a B. Well, I'm in tune, but it's a B. That's not right. I need to get to a C. We're looking for happy faces. It's a little low. And we can pause here and look. We see the number at the bottom where it's talking about cents, minus or plus cents. Well, every half step's divided into 100 cents. 100 divisions that tells us how fast that frequency is vibrating, getting us close to the reference pitch that we want it to be. So if you're within 5 or 6 cents, you might notice the difference. Hopefully you'll and the better you get, the more you'll notice those differences. This tells me I'm within like 0.8 cents. I'm pretty darn close. Now, again, you notice it jumping around. That's because as the string vibrates or as I touch it, even as I talk, it's creating different pitches. So it's going to tune to that. I'll be quiet and we'll hear the E. I said E flat. I need to get to E. A. Because the ukulele decays so quickly, it's really hard for it to pick up for very long. So that's Tonal Energy, and that's a great app you can get on your phone, you can get it on an iPad, awesome. This is the Snark Super Tight. I really recommend this. The batteries don't last terribly long, but it's really a much more accurate tuner, and I trust it in my daily work on guitar and mandolin as I get used to it. So that's 3 ways to tune our ukulele: by model, to ourself, and to a tuner. Now, sometimes we want to get a little further into the weeds. We want to get a little nerdier about tuning. So if you're interested in that, hang on for a second. We can talk. All right, so nerds only? Okay, cool. Talking about tuning. Now, tuning is always a compromise. If you've studied anything about Western music, you know that the piano, the guitar, a lot of our fretted strings, our piano instruments, they're tuned to what's called equal temperament. That means it's perfectly out of tune in every key, right? That's what that means. Because if we were to take what's called just intonation, which is intonation that is mathematically correct. So if we take this note and this note, they're an octave apart. It means they're 8 note names apart. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. An octave apart. And we mathematically figure out, too deep into nerd stuff, the different intervals in those. If we then use those same pitches, so if we use the C from a C scale in an F scale, all of a sudden our C is going to be a little bit flat. Because if we were to do the same mathematical equation on F to F and divide up into equal amounts, the ratios aren't right. They don't sound right. And where that really becomes critical is with the third of the chord. So if you know a little bit about theory, root, third, and fifth, especially in a major key, we're thinking that the third of the chord, to be perfectly in tune, has to be 13 cents flat. 13 cents flat from an equal temperament setup, right? So why does that matter for ukulele? Well, it's something we can think about. The more advanced we get is to think about what's called sweetened tunings. Sweetened tunings. And I encourage you to go look this up other places, look it up, check it out. But sweetened tunings is where we take and think, what key am I in? What's the third of that scale? Of that scale, exactly. And do I want to adjust for that? So for me, if I'm going to spend a whole lot of time playing in the key of C, I might think about taking the third of that scale, C, D, E, my E, and going just a little flat. So all of a sudden, it rings better. It rings stronger. Now, let's see if the F is still pretty good. How about the G? Yeah. So what I've done is sweetened it a little bit. Now, if you stay perfectly in tune with your tuner, it'll sound fine. It'll sound like you expect it to. But there's something about sweetening the tuning, finding wherever the third is in the key that I'm playing in, and adjusting it a little bit, adjusting it down a little bit. If I'm playing in the key of G, for instance, so I'm going to use my tuner to get back to straight E. If I'm in the key of G, my B, which is the third scale degree, G, A, B, my B is the third of the chord, and I might want to make it down 13 cents. Just a wee bit. It's actually pretty close already. I don't know if we can tell the difference on this ukulele. It's not a very fancy ukulele, so it may not be perfectly in tune, but with itself, I'm going to go back to equal temperament tuning. Here's the G chord in that. Listen to that note. Now what if we sweeten it a little bit? I don't know if you can tell the difference there, but it rings differently when we sweeten the tuning so that the third is a little bit lower. Now, that can also throw off some of our other chords. So let's see about the C chord. Now our C sounds a little flat on that top end. So we might split the difference. Maybe instead of 13 cents, it's 7 or 8 cents. Not so bad, but it really makes that one chord, that G chord, that much sweeter. So that's the basics of a sweetened tuning. There's more to figure out in there, but it's something to think about. That just because you're in tune with the tuner doesn't mean it's as beautiful as it can get. And I think of myself as a former high school band director, as a trumpet player, that idea of really tuning each chord so that the third is perfect, so that that fifth is raised up just a few cents to make everything ring. And there's some what seems to be magic things that happen. So when you're perfectly in tune in that way, you get what are called resultant overtones. These pitches that sound, you can hear something playing that's not playing, and it's magical. And when you hear a great symphony or a great band playing together in that way, where everything is adjusted to just intonation in that key, oh man, it's magical. Now wind players get to do that by manipulating reeds. Orchestral strings don't have frets to contend with. We, with fretted instruments, have to deal sometimes with sweetened tunings. So that's some nerdy talk for now, something to think about. If you like the video, I hope you'll click subscribe and like it. Follow along with whatever's going on here in Concord, North Carolina, as we take these ukuleles. You may want to check out my video where I unbox 20 of these awesome Kala ukuleles that we're going to get to use around the community, and just follow along and see where this is going to take us. So hope you're having fun. Hope you learned something about tuning and made you think a little bit about it. And if nothing else, I hope you can tune to those opening strings of the video when you need a model to tune with. All right. Thanks, friends. We'll see you soon.